In 1997, professional wrestling was dying. WCW was destroying WWF in the ratings every single week. The streak had lasted 83 consecutive weeks. WWF was hemorrhaging talent, money, and fans. What happened next was one of the greatest turnarounds in entertainment history, and it was built on beer, blood, and chaos. We're covering the Monday Night Wars, the rise of Stone Cold Steve Austin, D-Generation X, The Rock's transformation from nobody to the most electrifying man in sports entertainment, Mick Foley's insane Hell in a Cell moment, The Undertaker's dominance, and how the Attitude Era changed wrestling forever. Stay with me. Ted Turner's World Championship Wrestling had money, talent, and a secret weapon. When three major WWF stars jumped to WCW in 1996, including the legendary heel turn at Bash at the Beach, WCW had the hottest act in wrestling. Monday Nitro beat Raw in the ratings for 83 consecutive weeks. WWF was in crisis. Vince McMahon needed something radical. What he got was a rattlesnake. The Monday Night Wars pushed both companies to their creative limits. Without WCW threatening to destroy WWF, the Attitude Era never happens. On August 3, 1997, Steve Austin grabbed a microphone after winning the King of the Ring tournament and delivered 16 words that changed wrestling forever. Austin 3:16 says, "I just whipped your ass." Steve Austin was not supposed to be the top star of WWF. He was a mid-card heel with a bad neck injury who had been fired by WCW. Vince McMahon saw something in him, a raw, working-class anti-hero who said what everyone else was thinking and answered to nobody. The Steve Austin character broke every rule. He drank beer in the ring. He flipped off his boss on live television. He stunned authority figures for sport. He was the blue-collar everyman who didn't play by the rules, and every fan in every arena identified with him completely. His feud with WWF owner Vince McMahon became the central storyline of the Attitude Era. Boss versus employee. Authority versus rebellion. It was the most watched wrestling feud in history, and it single-handedly turned the ratings war around. Steve Austin didn't just save WWF. He reinvented what a wrestling hero could be. Messy, rebellious, and completely authentic. While Stone Cold was fighting management, another group was making wrestling appointment television for completely different reasons. D-Generation X didn't care about rules, authority, or good taste, and fans loved every second of it. DX started as two of the most talented performers in wrestling, combined with China. Their act was built on irreverence, humor, and aggressively mocking everyone around them, including WCW. Their most legendary moment came when they drove a military jeep to the arena hosting a WCW pay-per-view and attempted to invade it on live television. The stunt was equal parts ridiculous and brilliant, treating the Monday Night War like an actual war. DX showed that wrestling could be genuinely funny and subversive without losing intensity. They were the court jesters of the Attitude Era, and they were must-see television every single week. When Rocky Maivia debuted in 1996, fans hated him so much, they held up signs saying, "Die, Rocky, die." By 1999, he was the most charismatic performer in the history of professional wrestling. Rocky Maivia was packaged as a clean-cut babyface, third-generation wrestler, big smile, doing everything right. The fans rejected him completely. So, WWF turned him heel, gave him a microphone, and let his natural personality come out. What came out was extraordinary. The Rock, speaking about himself in the third person, asking people if they smelled what he was cooking, referring to his fans as the millions and millions of The Rock's fans, was unlike anything wrestling had ever produced. Every single line was quotable. Every gesture was perfect. His feuds with Steve Austin gave the Attitude Era its greatest WrestleMania main events. Their chemistry was electric. Two completely different characters who made each other better every single time they shared a ring. The Rock's transformation from rejected babyface to the most electrifying man in sports entertainment is one of the greatest character evolutions in entertainment history, wrestling or otherwise. On June 28, 1998, Mick Foley climbed to the top of a 16-foot steel cage. What happened next was the most replayed moment in wrestling history. Hell in a Cell was a match between Mick Foley, performing as Mankind, and The Undertaker. Before the match officially started, The Undertaker threw Mankind off the top of the cell. He fell 16 feet through the announce table. The match should have ended there. Mick Foley got back up. He was then chokeslammed through the top of the cell, falling through the roof and landing in the ring below. A tooth came out through his nose. He had a dislocated shoulder. He was concussed. He kept going. The Hell in a Cell moment wasn't just a wrestling spot. It was Mick Foley demonstrating a level of commitment to his craft that bordered on the genuinely frightening. Through every era of WWF, one constant remained: a 7-foot supernatural force in a black hat and coat who had been performing the same character for over a decade and somehow kept getting more menacing. The Undertaker debuted at Survivor Series 1990 and never left. During the Attitude Era, he embraced a darker, cult-like persona that fit the period perfectly. His WrestleMania undefeated streak became the most sacred tradition in wrestling. Every year, the question was the same: is this the year the streak ends? Every year, the answer was no. The streak reached 21-0 before it was finally ended, a moment so shocking that grown men were photographed crying in the arena. By 2001, WWF had won the Monday Night Wars. WCW was bankrupt, and Vince McMahon bought it. The invasion angle of 2001 should have been the greatest storyline in wrestling history. Instead, it was mishandled spectacularly. Most of WCW's biggest names had contracts that kept them from appearing, and the angle was rushed and poorly executed. The Attitude Era effectively ended when WWF rebranded as WWE in 2002. Steve Austin's body had been destroyed by years of working through injuries. The Rock had left for Hollywood. The generation that defined the era had moved on. What they left behind was a period that changed sports entertainment permanently. 83 weeks of losing. A rattlesnake who flipped off his boss. The most electrifying man in sports entertainment.